Peace, Mike Geronimo, right here, Report Card Radio, with my guy, biggest in charge, Mikey T, the superstar. We here, y'all.
Major facts, man. Mike Geronimo, I want to welcome you to Report Card Radio. You know, it's amazing to have you on the channel today.
Nah, man, the pleasure's all mine. Like I said, man, and we two mics, so it's always better when you got another mic around. So I'm glad to be here, bro.
Facts, man. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like people from your year, like 1973, 1974, had it made. I mean, my brother, he was working for New Line Cinema. You were working with the hottest producers.
I don't know. Maybe it's something with that 7 and that 3 together. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it was some good stuff to have under your belt. You know what I mean? Good stuff to have under my belt. I got to work with a lot of people that I would have never imagined I was going to work with. And then I got to work with a lot of people that I always wanted to work with. So I'm very grateful for that. Very appreciative for that.
Yo, and we're going to get into all of that, man. But can you tell me what it was that actually drew you into music in the first place?
I think I always had a love for music. Like when I was a kid, I remember my first set of drums, I was like 8 years old. It was like a set of Bee Gees drums, if you could believe it. But, you know, I always had drums. I played the recorder, I played the piano, I played the keyboard. So I think I always had something in me that gravitated towards music. And then in terms of becoming an actual artist, that's a little more tricky because that kind of happened on its own. You know, I had started out as a DJ. So, you know, I had Technique 1200s and Gemini mixers and all that good stuff, Gem Sound speakers. So that's how I got my start. But I also grew up with Large Professor, shout out to Large. So just growing up with Large and him becoming, you know, a major force in hip hop, I would be exposed to stuff every day that I went to his crib. So, you know, like Gangstar would come to his house, or Pete Rock, or Leaders of the New School, or Q-Tip. And that could be a Tuesday, that could be today. You know, they would just flow through. And I was like his little brother, so I was always there. So I was always surrounded by this stuff. And the more that I was around it, I would just freestyle. And in the beginning, it would have, you know, I'd just have my boys laughing. They'd be like, yo, you know, you be saying something when you spit, but you don't take it serious. So then the more that I actually did start saying to myself, well, what if I do dedicate the time to actually write, you know, raps and all of that? Let's see how that goes. And then I did. You know, I still really wasn't, like, it wasn't like I was doing it and saying, all right, I'm doing this in the hopes to become an MC and sell a lot of records and all of that. I never looked at it that way. I just looked at it like, it's something I like doing, and I'm getting better at doing it from what I'm being told. And then from there, it was just a natural progression to move away from DJing and more into, you know, MCing.
So was it hard for you back then to actually start recording, like to put your vocals on a track? For example, Cube and Dr. Dre seemed to have to push Eazy-E, you know, when he actually got in the booth.
No, like it wasn't a thing where I didn't have any reservations at all about recording. Actually, the funny part was the first time that I ever really recorded, I ended up doing Shit's Real with Irv Gotti. And I remember when we was doing it and he kind of stopped me halfway through the song and he was like, yo, you never did this before? You never recorded before? And I was like, nah, never. And he's like, never? Not at Large Crib, none of that. I was like, nah, never in my life. And he just did this laugh, you know what I mean? And like it was like a sinister but yeah type laugh. And then he just kept recording me. So, and I just kept going. And to me, it was fun. To me, it was amazing to be able to hear your voice, You know what I mean? Like we hear our voices all the time when we talk and do things during the day, but you don't ever hear your voice in the way that people hear your voice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
so just to be able to hear what I sound like to someone else and to hear it in a rhythm like that in itself was amazing to me. So I just have fun doing it, bro.
So was it really that chance encounter at the talent show with DJ Irv that led you guys to jumping in the studio together?
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't really say it was a chance encounter. The reason being is because we had a mutual friend named Chucky Madness that I went to school with. And I actually would go to Chuck's house every weekend because he was a DJ, and Chuck would cut records up and record me on a low. And I guess he was going back and telling Irv about me. And he had told Irv to actually come up to the talent show that day. So we met that night. You know, I just thought I remember rapping for him in his ear, and he just was laughing like, yeah, nigga, yeah. Then, you know, the venue we was at, it got shot up, so we all got separated. And I think about a week or two after that, he had called me, and he was, you know, like, yo, I got a studio. Why don't you come try it? If you don't like it, you know, you don't have to do it. And then that was it. We just, from that encounter, the next move was the studio, and then after that, we was off and running.
So I want to ask, like, how did your relationship with Irv turn into a deal with TVT Records? Did Irv have anything to do with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we did Shit's Real, and then Irv had went and got Hype Williams to shoot the video. So Hype and his boy Izzy came out, and we shot this video on this camera that was about this big. And then we had the video, and we were starting to get a little bit of a response from the public. But Irv was under the impression that, like, yo, we're not going to wait, you know, for labels. Like, I'm going to press it up. And I was like, well, how are we doing that? He's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But we did. And we pressed up a couple of 12 inches. And we gave those out to DJs all over the city. He would sleep in front of Hot 97 and wait for whatever DJ was on the air to come about to give them the record. He sent me in a nightclub, and I'll give the record to whoever was spinning at whatever club we was going to. And then from there, I guess labels started to contact him because he had put his contact information on the 12 inches, I think. And so labels already were interested, but once we had did the video and pressed the song up, it kind of pushed everything. And so Irv was the one who the labels would call, and he would, you know, read to see which was the best situation. So he had everything in the world to do with that. Definitely. Shout out to the guy.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. You know, there was a lot of labels back then, like Loud, TVT. You know,
Yeah.
One of the most notable stories I know from TVT, though, is when Ja Rule signed there and with a group, the Cash Money Click. And then he went on to have a few issues once he blew up as a solo artist.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like at TVT?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different as compared to Rule, for the simple fact that I was the first hip hop artist they had ever signed. So with me, it was kind of like, I was kind of like their baby new year, figuratively speaking. So I was the first artist rap wise they'd ever signed. And I had a pretty good relationship with the label president, the owner. I had a good relationship with the majority of the staff there. So, and my contractual situation was night and day to hit. And then the other part of that was, you know, not only were they brand new, but this is their first time encountering maybe some sort of a cross marketing or a cross scenario with another label with an artist that they already had signed. So there was a lot of red tape. There were also, I think, you know, like for lack of a better way to put it, personal issues between, you know, the president of Def Jam and the president of TVT. And I think that muddied the waters a lot more regarding Rule and
Yep. One
what
label
he was
doesn't want the other to be bigger.
exactly, and regarding, you know, where he was able to move and what he was able to do. And he pretty much was an innocent bystander, you know, caught between these two labels, you know, fighting over what he's allowed to do and what he's not. So it was very different variables involved in both scenarios. But all in all, I had a pretty decent relationship with TVT.
Yeah, you dropped 2 albums over there, right?
Yeah, 2 albums.
That's what's up, man. And, you know, I got to ask you, man, how did you go from working with Irv Gotti and then linking with Diddy? I mean, I'm talking about the hottest producers in the game earlier. You worked with them.
Uh-huh. It all, like I said, with me, bro, a lot of things just, they just happened. They fell into place. My cousin, shout out to Barnes, my cousin Barnes is very good friends with Diddy. And I don't even think at that time that they knew that Barnes was family to me. But the minute that I met, you know, like Harv and Puff and Nassim and Prestige and D-Dot and everybody there, it kind of was like another home for me. They definitely took me under the wing, and they were really eager to work with me, and I was really eager to work with them. Harv was from Queens, I was from Queens, so that also made it, you know, that added to it, like, yo, we could work together and do something for the borough and all this other stuff. So it just all fell into place. And then, you know, me and Diddy, like, Diddy was cool from day one. He was always like big bro to me, you know, so we just had a really cool relationship where, you know, it was like, yo, man, we should do some music. And even if I wasn't doing anything where he was on it, he was always very, like, he would always come in and listen to what I'm doing. And he would always, you know, like, be like, yo, do it this way, try to do it this way, try to do it. So he always had input in what I was doing. And then when the time came, it just worked out where it was like, yeah, we can work together and make some shit. And that's what we did. You know, so shout out to Diddy's Bad Boy. Rest in peace, Black Rob, my G for life, you know.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Black Rob. I actually had a couple opportunities to meet BR, man. And
Yeah.
you must have had an opportunity to work with my guy Stevie J as well.
Yeah, I know Steve. Shout out to Steve. We didn't actually get to do, I didn't actually get to do any of his production, but Steve was definitely there during a lot of the times that we did work. So even if I was in like the little van room they had, where they actually had a room in Bad Boy that was designed to be the inside of a van, and it had like car audio equipment so that you would get the feeling of what your music sounded like in a car. So even if I was in that little van room just listening to shit, me and Steve would, you know, he would be around. So shout out to him as well.
Yeah, Stevie's a good dude. I actually got the chance to meet Stevie when I was working with Hip Hop Weekly in Miami, actually.
Okay, yeah, Steve's good people and stuff. Good people.
So, man, you know, I find it hard to I find it like did he never offered you a contract for Bad Boy Records? There was never talk about that?
I mean, we may have conversed about it, you know, about those possibilities, but it never had gotten to the point of, you know, like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And I don't think at that time, like, I didn't really feel the need to, like, it wasn't of necessity, because as I said, we were all so cool, and it wasn't anything that we wouldn't do, you know, for each other. Like, it's not like he couldn't call me, and he did plenty of times, be like, yo, bro, I'm doing this mixtape, I need you to hop on, or yo, I'm doing this song, or I might have did a song. He might have did a song and been like, yo, I want you to hear what I spit. Like, so we just had that sort of relationship where it didn't really require for me to be signed to Bad Boy. I knew they were there, and they knew the same with me, you know?
That's love right there, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, yo, we're going to shift the topic right here, and I want to ask you, man, Can you tell me about meeting 50 Cent? How did you two actually meet? And, you know, you two are actually only 2 years difference in age.
Yeah, shout out Fifth. We met actually because good friends of mine from the hometown named Darkside, they knew 50, and they was doing a song with him. And I forget if it was him that suggested it or if it was them that suggested it. Somehow or another, somebody has suggested that I get on the song. And so, you know, they pretty much just asked me, like, his people asked my people, his people and my people knew each other. And he asked me, and I was like, yeah, no worries. So I think that day I came up to the studio, he was there. You know, we chilled. I did the hook. He loved it. And the rest was history. The rest was history. So shout out to him as well.
Right. So that record is called The Evil That Men Do.
Correct.
What do you most remember about that song, man?
Not too much other than, you know, like he was happy with the hook. You know what I mean? Like I remember us standing there, and then I remember like just saying on like, yo, I got it. And he's like, what's up? I was like, I got the hook. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I got it. And I just went in and said it, and he dug it, you know, and that was cool. That was cool. So it was a good experience.
So how was 50 Cent compared to other rappers from Queens at the time? Or had you not known him, was it really the connection with Dark Side?
I mean, I knew of him, and I had heard of him, and he was definitely making waves at that point, but I didn't really know much about him. And up until that point, I had never met him. So with me, I'm pretty easy person. Like all it takes for me is to meet somebody, and if we vibe, then we're cool. If we don't vibe, then it just is what it is. And you know, we met and we vibed out. You know, and I think this was prior to all of these other things fermenting and becoming bigger than, you know, they were at that point. So that didn't really come into play, you know. And I just remember he was real cool. Wasn't really saying too much, but was just real cool. Just real cool. Like we was just both vibing, and we was both like, yeah, this is cool. And that was that, you know.
Did he have the homie Yayo with him?
Nah. I think it was actually, I think that day, if I'm not mistaken, which ironically enough, one of them called me this morning. I think it was just me, him, and Darkside. And Darkside is Doc and Sin. So I think it was just me, him, Doc, Sin. It might have been one or two other people in the studio. We did it right at Black. Yeah. And from there, it was just a regular session. Easy session.
Oh, you said Bangum Smurf was there?
No, I don't think Smurf was there, bro. I don't think Smurf was there that day. And I know Smurf, so I think I'd have remembered if he was there that day. Smurf wasn't there that day, but shout out Smurf.
Salute to my homie Smurf, man. Definitely
Yeah.
salute to Smurf, man. So you had briefly mentioned it, man. And what did you think of 50 Cent's beef with Murder Inc. and him really trying to tear down Irv and Ja's career?
I mean, past the obvious, I didn't give it too much thought. You know, the obvious is, you know, it's unfortunate, and like I said, I'm cool with everybody. You know, I always been cool with everybody. But with that being said, it was kind of disturbing to see, you know, him attacking people that you got love for. You know, so in that sense of watching my brothers being attacked, no, that wasn't easy to you know to watch or to observe. But then again, Rule is a big boy, so I knew he could handle whatever came his way. Um, and I know my people, you know, so and it's a very it was a very precarious situation, you know, so I just tried to do the best I could do to walk a fine line, I guess you could say, you know, and And with me, I was just like, as long as, God be willing, nothing happens and I'm around, where I wouldn't want to witness certain things, or I wouldn't want to be a part of anything unfortunate. It was just that, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Not even from the perspective of being an outside observer. It wasn't easy.
You did the record Evil That Men Do. Did this present in any like issue? Like, did it affect your relationship at all with Irv Gotti, Murder Inc., Ja, any of the guys?
Not at all. Not at all. Because you got to remember when we did that song, this was prior to everything coming to its boiling point. And I think too, the people around me, they respected the fact that, I'm always cool with everyone. And so I didn't get any sort of friction or opposition, and they knew I was going to do it. They knew that, and they didn't at all. No reservation. They actually was like, yeah, you need to do it. So, but again, this is before a lot of things had developed and changed and became something else. So would it have been the same if it was at that point? I don't know. I can't say, because I only know the time that we was in, that we did what we did in there. So yeah, I didn't really get too much blowback.
Mike, I just want to say, it just comes to mind, like you, Nori, Nas, you guys are a lot of the early artists that actually, you guys are the ones who gave 50 Cent his early life in the music industry to show the people out there watching that he could really have a music career, you know what I mean, with real staples in the industry.
Mm-hmm. He deserves it. He deserves it.
He's good.
In terms of just being an artist and looking at him from the sense of an artist, he's very savvy. I think his earlier material was right in the right place, right in the right time. I think the combination of him and Eminem and Dre was phenomenal. And I think he's a very shrewd person in terms of, he thinks just as hard about what his product is going to be as he does about how to get it out there and optimize it. And I think that that's to be, that's admirable. So me personally, I'm happy for all my people from the town that made it, because I could reflect on the days when none of us had anything. So to see him go from that to, directing BMF, right, it's a beautiful thing.